you ever wondered about the people of Northwestern University? Who makes this place what it is, and what are their stories? Hi, I'm Leo Merrick, and welcome to This Northwestern Life. This podcast is in no way affiliated with This American Life, and is not a copyright infringement, no matter what their lawyers say. Anyway, a few weeks ago I sat down with David Catlin, a member of the Northwestern community. I had a few questions about his role on campus and his work in general. So, what is your official title at this school?
I am a lecturer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got it. What are your specific responsibilities here, you would say?
Sure. I have the way that our sequence is set up, is our curriculum is set up, is that starting your sophomore year, you select or you go through a selection process that you have agency over, where you will select an acting. You'll go and visit some acting classes in the spring, and you will try to figure out what is the best fit for you, and you'll put your list of preferences, and you'll get your first or second, usually your first or second preference, and you end up for 6 quarters with the same acting teacher and the same group of fellow, a cohort of students. And I carry 2 classes. That's considered a full load. A third class would be overload, which I've done before, depending on how many freshmen there are who are going to become sophomores. And I would be with that class for 6 quarters. And then senior year, I teach 3 special topics classes. And those vary depending on, it's often a class called Actor as Collaborator. And we are often workshopping shows that I'm working on professionally. I founded a theater company called Looking Glass Theater Company. I was a student here almost 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago. And while we were students here, we made some plays together, and we decided that we wanted to make a theater company.
I'd like to touch a little bit on what you're currently working on now, whether that is with Looking Glass, but more specifically in the Northwestern community.
Yeah, I've tried as much as possible to have those 2 worlds feed off each other a little bit. I'm teaching a class right now with seniors called Devising Frankenstein, the Making of Monsters, and exploring some of the script, but also having them come up with some of their own versions, adaptations of scenes and moments that happen in the chapters. I'm acting in a show at Looking Glass called Hard Times, Charles Dickens story, that won't have a life here.
So speaking a little bit about Looking Glass, specifically Moby Dick, because that's been on everyone's minds, because I've heard so much about it. So you were the representative from Looking Glass for this collaboration with 3 other companies to create 3 separate Moby Dicks. How would you say your production was influenced by this? I've never heard of something like that before. How would you say influenced that way?
Me neither. It was fantastic. I'd never heard of that kind of collaboration. Yeah. But it was really beautiful because we could be inspired by each other, but we still were able to maintain our unique aesthetics, our unique style of storytelling. What was important to us as artists. We didn't, compromise can be great, but it's also lovely to... And the other thing that was beautiful, just to say, is that because it was really born out of collaboration, that was part of the ictus, that sort of first moment, that became that spirit of collaboration continued even as Looking Glass began honing in, so that the designers and all of us were collaborating at a high level of what felt like a very fruitful, productive level. When we opened it at Looking Glass in 2015, we have 2 weeks of we have a preview process that is very friendly to new work, where you spend the first week doing previews and getting some of the technical elements down, and then the second week you've got 13 hours of rehearsal to make big changes to the play if you need to, and usually you need to.
That seems very helpful.
Yeah, it's incredible. Things change drastically tomorrow, and actually the play we're doing now is not a new play. It was when we first did it, but we've got that 13 hours of rehearsal, and the play is going to really come into sharp, clear focus. But with Moby Dick, we had roughed in an ending to get through that first week of previews. We had some ideas about what we wanted to do. We just didn't have the tech time to do it and to do all the circus-y stuff safely. So we roughed in something, had some ideas about it, and then we went out to Epic Burger on a dinner break I think it was Tuesday. And all the designers were there, and everybody threw out an idea or three about and those ideas started to build and grow, and then we went back into the theater, and we did almost all of those ideas ended up in the ending, and it was really exciting. It was,
wow.
It was the kind of process that I just remember understudies, which that sounds pejorative, but often the role of an understudy is to not contribute ideas to make the play better. That's not often the role. The role of an understudy is usually to just absorb as much of the blocking and state and direction that the actor they're covering gets. This was a case where the understudies were throwing in ideas that were brilliant and ended up in the play.
Wow.
And as a director and adapter, I got to be more of an air traffic controller, pulling great ideas that were just coming out in the room. And I think part of that is because it started in a very collaborative way that wasn't precious. As the adapter director, I got to have the vision. I got to start with the vision that I hopefully helped people hook into and begin to make their own and watch it grow to something bigger than what I had initially thought. But I think it's because it started as a collaboration.
David Catlin is a man full of stories. What was supposed to be a 15-minute interview ended up being more than 45 minutes long. We talked about so much more than just the questions I had written down. He told me a story about an arts camp his daughter had attended. When he noticed the brown leather bag that I used to carry my notebook, he proceeded to tell the story of a similar bag he had. What I'm trying to say is, David Catlin is the type of person who uses stories to answer questions. And isn't that really what we in the theater are trying to do?
That's my bag. Yeah. They're not taking physics degrees next to that. Taking skills and
Before I go, I want to share some advice David Catlin had.
One of my students, John Logan, came and spoke, and one of my students asked him what, other than the classes he took, what was the most important thing about Northwestern for him? And John Logan said 3 words: comrades, comrades, comrades. He said that the people that are around you are very bright, they're very creative, they're very curious people. They're the kind of people that you are going to that you could end up making art with for the rest of your life. That bore true for me at Looking Glass. The people that I went to school with here, our kids are growing up together. We vacation together. We make art together. And those people could be around you right now. Mm-hmm. People who could continue to be important to you, whether it's in art or just friendship, for the rest of your life. You are surrounded by creative, productive, interesting people. And so that would be the other piece of advice, is to find those people, and don't presume that you may step out of here and never look back, but that these people could be really important to you. They could be collaborators in life, part of your community for the rest of your life. And that's a good thing. They might be sitting right next to you and you haven't met them yet.
Well, that's all for today. Thanks for listening, and as always, go Cats!